text is a purpose or a motive alleged, or an appearance assumed, in order to cloak the real intention or state of affairs.
Initial access. OMI is trying to get into your network.
Listen, this is your manager, and I'm trying to send off an email. I got this document. Need you to confirm a few details. So go ahead and log in and tell me what you think. I need this now, so to make this convenient, here is the link. I'm a threat actor, fishing mark for email. It's urgent to distract you with it. So how fast you clicked it when you submitted the form with your password in it. You probably couldn't tell there was an actual difference in the URL. The domains look alike though. And to you it looks fine though, but mine had typos and make it look like yours. See, I was in the mood today to make your account a communal space, but then you activated your trap card, and I saw you had 2FA. But I just shrugged, I'ma shake it off. Got on kid gloves, I'ma take them off. Got your phone number, I'ma make a call. I'ma break this wall, it just makes me lol. I'm moving quick, I'm on a mission. Yeah, I heard your network is lit. I'm trying to get in. Yeah, I'm trying to get me a hit. When I go fishing. Yeah, you probably think it's legit. I got you clicking. Yeah. Hello. Hi. I'm calling you from the IT department. We have been under attack by some hackers, and we think that your account might be a target.
Oh no, how do I fix this?
No need to worry, I wrote up a ticket. You'll get a notification from your authenticator app, so please pass me them digits.
1 sec.
Okay.
Yeah. The code is 112345.
Thank you. You fell for the lie, so I hung up the phone without saying goodbye. Cutting it short like a crew cut. Probably think it won't happen to you, but it happened to Uber. They say you win some, you lose some. Boys got a smooth touch hacking you too, bruh. You know how I be creeping and I'm logging in your VPN. It probably looks anomalous. Some logs if you be keeping them. And probably unaware about the shares that have been peeping. And the reason I'll be seeking them, I'm looking for an easy win. You probably thought it was a magic trick, and you're mad you clicked. I'ma stack my chips and bet that a DA password is sitting in an admin script. I'm moving quick, I'm on a mission. Yeah, I heard your network is lit. I'm trying to get in. Yeah, I'm trying to get me a hit. When I go fishing. Yeah, you probably think it's legit. I got you clicking. I'm moving quick, I'm on a mission. Yeah, I heard your network is lit. I'm trying to get in. Yeah, I'm trying to get me a hit. When I go fishing. Yeah, you probably think it's legit. I got you clicking.
Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Generative AI in Azure. So I'm here again with my co-host, Kenny. Kenny, how are you doing today?
I'm fine. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. How are you doing as well?
Yeah, doing good also. Just normal, normal tech stuff, normal tech life. So first of all, let me just say apologies to the audience for starting very late today. So there were some internet connection issues that we're working through. So Kenny and I, we have a plan to try to avoid that for next time. So again, big apologies for the late start. But we'll still try to keep to time in terms of maybe when how we go through the session and when we finish. But yeah, Kenny, how has it been for you, like in the AI world? Anything that's maybe standing out to you recently?
Aside the updates with the AI models, I think ChatGPT recently, OpenAI, they recently improved the GPT 5.6. So, yeah.
Yeah, nice. So what about, so I'll tell you like what stood out to me, what's been very interesting to me more recently. So there's quite like a few things. So, and I would like to get like your take on one of them before we get into today's session. So number one, like there's been like this AI Act by the EU. So they call it like the EU AI Act that has been discussed and talked about for a very long time. But just recently, a part of it became active, which means organizations would now be penalized. So for example, so Kenny, let's say you're building a product that you sell into EU, and there is AI in use in your product, then you're required to be transparent to your users that AI is being used in this product, and this is how I'm using it in this product. So if you don't, then there is a significant fine that could be essentially issued to you as a penalty if you fail to do that. So what's your thoughts around this? So it's like, so transparency is like the first part of that. So essentially you've got to be transparent if AI is in use. What do you think?
That's actually a very good one. That's like a form of protection.
Yeah.
As regards AI ethics. So
Yeah.
transparency is one of the things that we look out for. So on the part of EU, so I'm actually looking forward to maybe other Africa adopting such acts.
I mean, if you think about it, like it's a little bit. You can see the reason why some people don't want to do, or some countries don't want to do it because they are competing to be leaders, right? But to your point, like a lot of times, like let's say in many of like maybe West African countries or so, they're not really like competing to be like leaders in terms of building AI models and stuff. So as a majority of what we do is like we consume these models that's created by others. So it's all like a way to protect the consumers, right? Oh, I've got like my big Sarah. Hello, Sarah Kofi. Good to see you. Yeah, thanks very much for joining. So it's all like a way to protect the consumers, right? To make sure that the consumers have it's visible to them. So, for example, if you're using a healthcare product in somewhere in Nigeria that's written somewhere in Europe somewhere, you want to know, are you using AI anywhere in this product? So it's clear to you as a consumer. So yeah, I agree with you, Kenny. I think that's a good thing. That's a good one. The other thing that stood out to me is about AI models, and many AI models are breaking out of their sandboxes. Everybody's claiming. So it started with OpenAI claiming, oh, we're running some experiments. And we told our agent and we said, you don't have internet access. However, we forgot to close off a path that the agent could use to get to the internet, even though we told it doesn't have internet access. So what happened was that the agent figured out that path and then took that path to break out of the sandbox, and then it started attacking other organizations. So what they claimed was it was attacking Hugging Face, which is like a very popular platform, for hosting models online. So, and then Hugging Face confirmed and says, yes, OpenAI agent broke out of his sandbox and attacked us. And it stole things from our environment, and it kept quiet about it. So that happened. And OpenAI wrote a whole report about that, essentially like almost bragging about it, right? And Hugging Face also wrote a report about it. So both the victim and the attacker were bragging about it. And then a few weeks later, Anthropic came out and said, oh, after we heard this news from OpenAI that their agents broke out of a sandbox, then we started going back to go look at our own previous experiments. And guess what we found? Our model also broke out of its sandbox, and it attacked other organizations also. And then a few weeks later, Meta came out and says, guess what, guys? Our own agent also broke out of his sandbox.
Wow.
And then the last one I heard was a few days ago with Kimi K3. They're like, oh, Kimi K3 also broke out of its own sandbox. So it's very interesting because everyone is now using that as sort of like it almost sounds like a marketing thing, where everyone's agents are breaking out of the sandbox, and everybody's bragging about it. So, what's your thought around this, Kenny? Do you have any thoughts around this?
I feel it's becoming a trend because all of them are following.
Everybody's breaking out. It's like, I can also break out of the sandbox. So, have you heard about a benchmark called Felony Bench? I put the link in the chat window for the audience. So, Felony Bench is a benchmark that somebody created to track this. So essentially, it's like your brag, because let's say, if I say to Kenny, I attacked your home network. Or no, let's not do that. Let's not say Kenny. Let's say Zenith Bank, right? So David and Kenny were like, oh, Zenith Bank, guess what? Kenny and I were doing some experiment and we attacked your environment and we broke in. And, we stole a little bit of some customer credentials and everything. And then, we left after attacking your network. That's a crime, right? Because you're not meant to break into somebody else's computer without their permission. Except you're a pen tester, they've commissioned you as a pen tester to do that. So that's a crime. That's like a felony. But everybody's bragging about committing felonies. So what somebody's tracking is, they call it Felony Bench, and essentially I put the link in the chat window. Okay, let's see. Sakofi says they're preparing for the next wave of I think I agree with you, Sakofi. It sounds like that's what's going to happen, is that then it's going to be, there is some product that will protect you against agents that can, break out and start attacking you. So you just need to pay, 100,000 per month to to get some protection. Exactly. I completely agree with Sakofi. Okay, let's get into the session today. Kenny, are you there? Can you hear me? Kenny, are you there? Okay, let's check that again. Kenny, are you there? Hello. Oh, wow. Thanks very much for joining. You can see it says, hey, long time. Somehow I made my way back to learning Azure and launching, testing my own agent in. Wow, that's amazing. Nice work. Well done. Oh, wow, that's amazing. From the CCNA days, when we used to do like the live meetup. Oh, I remember then. I used to do like the live meetup in those days. Oh, that's very interesting. Okay, thanks very much for joining. Yeah, we should connect. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Send me a message on LinkedIn. Let's connect. Oh, Kenny, so we're back now. So what's the session for today? What are we learning today?
Okay, so today we'll be looking at an overview of Microsoft IQ.
Nice. I am looking forward to that because Microsoft IQ is something new that was announced just as Microsoft Build. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Let's go for it, Kenny.
Please, can you confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so what Microsoft IQ basically is, it is an intelligence layer that is used to ground AI in organizational context. So, like our AI models, as they can be very good at understanding language, reasoning, summarizing, and all of that. But when it comes to understanding what is happening within an organization, they don't know what is happening. So that is where Microsoft IQ comes in. So in a company, for example, you have different kinds of documents or policies that you work with. You can have your company sales data. You can have your company policies, leave policies, HR policy, and all of that. So that context that AI is missing is what Microsoft IQ is addressing. So the context. Okay, so yeah. Okay, yeah. So like I was saying, within a company policies, this can include HR guidelines, leave policies, approval processes, which AI does not automatically have access to. Or when it comes to your sales and financial data, you have your revenue data, profit, and customer information. AI also does not have access to all of this. Then organizational dynamics, meetings, emails, chats, and all of that. AI still doesn't have access to all of this. And lastly, the business processes. For example, which an employee submits a request, a manager has to approve it. Then maybe someone on the finance team then has to review that before payment is then released, for example. So this context right here is what AI is missing. It does not have any access or knowledge of anything that happens within an organization. Then, for example, let's say a new consultant is hired. On the first day on the job, that consultant has zero knowledge of whatever is happening within an organization. They don't know your products, they don't know who your customers are, they don't know the internal processes, the company's policies, and so on. So, like their job on that first day is to learn about the organization. And Microsoft IQ here is presenting an automated version of this process. So the architectural foundation of Microsoft IQ. So um, here you have there are three: the user and agent interface, the Microsoft IQ engine, and reasoning LLM or AI model like we know it. So the user uses, for example, a complex business query. Prompts the user issues a complex business prompt to an AI agent powered by maybe Copilot or your custom tools. Then you have the Microsoft IQ engine that supplies real-time enterprise knowledge, and this enterprise knowledge now is permission aware. Like I remember in one of the previous sessions where we addressed RAG. RAG is also a way of grounding your models in company information, but it is limited. So Microsoft's IQ is like a broader view of it's giving it's like an expatiated RAG, because the Microsoft IQ also uses agentic retrieval. Then lastly, we have the reasoning LLM. So there are four intelligence layers. We have the work IQ, we have the fabric IQ, and foundry IQ, and lastly, we have the web IQ. So what work IQ does is to, like within an it's for work IQ now is focused on across let's say Microsoft 365, which includes your emails, your teams, meetings, documents, and so on. So for example, let's say you're preparing for a meeting with a customer. Instead of you manually going through your Teams charts, your Outlook, your documents manually, this is where Microsoft IQ comes in. It understands how this works across all of these platforms. Then you have your Fabric IQ. So what Fabric IQ does is basically understanding business data. It translates complex databases into semantics. So instead of, imagine you have like a database that contains like your facts table, your dimensions table. So instead of like understanding, for example, your fact sales, your deemed products, and all of that, it understands business concepts here: revenue, profits, inventory, and all of this through Microsoft Fabric. Then we have the Foundry IQ. So Foundry IQ is this is the one that is closely related with RAG and organizational document. So Foundry IQ is able to unify enterprise or organizational documentation like your HR policies, technical manuals, your SharePoint, your basically like everything concerning your organization. So, for example, you have an AI agent, an HR AI agent, and an employee asks, for example, how many days of leave am I entitled to? An AI model without the necessary information can just give a generic answer. But when that AI agent is grounded in with Foundry IQ, it searches through relevant company documents or policies, then retrieves the relevant information and provides answer and also citation of, okay, this is the answer, and also citing where that response is gotten from. So this is the basic idea behind RAG. That's the retriever augmented generation. Also, when you talk about um, permission aware RAG, that's permission aware retrieval augmented generation. So, like I said before, you have your HR documents, you have maybe your financial reports, employees' records, and all of that. Not every employee should get access to every document within an organization. So, an AI model cannot just retrieve every document and give answers. So instead, it emphasizes enterprise security, permission, awareness. Another example, maybe another employee asks, what is the company's maternity leave policy? They can ask the maybe HR agent, which then fetches the appropriate response from maybe the HR policy. But maybe when you ask, for example, what is the CEO's compensation? Not every employee in an organization should have access to every information within an organization. So what permission awareness in this instance, what it does or what it means is that AI should only have access or use information that the user is authorized to, because not every employee within an organization should have access to all information within an organization. Then lastly, we have the web IQ. The web IQ simply is external intelligence. So that because no organization operates in isolation. So when you have your internal data, that's your organizational data telling you what is going on within your organization, then you have web IQ or external intelligence telling you what is happening outside your organization. The external intelligence in this instance can mean, for example, news, competitor activity, maybe new regulatory laws, and all of that. For example, your company launches a new product. So your internal information or your organizational information can tell you your sales potential, your inventory, your internal resources. But with Web IQ, external information can tell you new regulation, or maybe a new product that the competitor launches, market trends, basically. So all of this four, they're able to work they're able to work alone, and they're also able to work together. You're able to use them all together. So with the work IQ now, you have the collaboration context. It's able to connect to Outlook, Teams, chats, your meetings, and able to brief you for a meeting using the organizational information that it's able to gather. Then with Fabric IQ, like I said, it understands business context, business meaning. So while maybe your BI system is exposing database field, like I said, your fact table, fact sales or DIM, product key, all of this. With Fabric IQ, allows natural. So you're able to answer questions in natural is able to answer questions in natural language, like asking why the sales fall, for example. So instead of going through writing SQL queries, for example, it gives Fabric IQ in this instance, maybe now combined with the Web IQ. You ask why the sales fall. The information that you have now is not only the information that pertains to maybe whatever going on in that is going on in your organization now. That is plus external knowledge. That is when it is being used with work IQ and Web IQ in this instance rather. So, like I said before, maybe you launch a new product and the product is not doing well. Then combined with Web IQ is able to tell you, okay, your competitor launched a product. Maybe this product is the reason why there is a drop in our sales and so on. Then Foundry IQ now, which is the enterprise knowledge retrieval, which unifies internal documentation like your HR policies, basically your organizational data, into governed knowledge bases. So yeah, it says unlike simple RAG tools, Foundry IQ enforces enterprise security, active indexing, and strict access controls. So there's already a form of protection now. So if you're not meant to get access to some kinds of information, you're not going to get access to it. So this is where the governed and permission aware RAG comes in. Then the Web IQ, which bridges the internal enterprise context with real-world external events, like your breaking news, competitor, intelligence, regulatory changes, and so on. So, like I said, you're able to use each of these IQs on its own, or you're able, or depending on the scenario, they're able to you're able to use them together. You're able to use them together. Then compared to traditional RAG, when it comes to data source scope, data source scope, with traditional RAG, you're able to only use a single index document. But with Microsoft IQ, you're able to unify the context across multiple platforms. I remember in one of our previous sessions where we treated RAG, we were able to only ground that AI model in with only just one document. So that is the single index document repository. Then data, when it comes to data understanding, for traditional RAG, it is vector similarity on raw context, but yeah, it has with Microsoft IQ, it has deep semantic models, ontologies, and workplace graphs. Then context multi-dimensionality. With traditional RAG, it is static document matching, Why with Microsoft IQ, it combines collaboration signals, business metrics, and live web data. That's like a collaboration between the IQs. Then security and permission. For traditional RAG system, it is custom manual permission pipelines. But here it's as built-in Microsoft 365 governance, Entra ID, and access control. So with Microsoft IQ, security and permission is already in place. So yeah. Then the business benefits of Microsoft IQ. So first is enterprise context. So AI now is able to understand, aside the knowledge that it has been trained with, the data it has been trained with now, the AI is able to understand information that is specific to your organization, able to understand your employees, your business processes, and all of that. Then second is grounded reliability. So with Microsoft's IQ, hallucination is drastically reduced because one of the qualities of LLMs is that they hallucinate a lot. But with Microsoft IQ, the hallucination is drastically reduced because they are grounded in enterprise information, verified enterprise information, and still have access to web intelligence, external intelligence. So their knowledge is not only limited to your organizational information now, it is your internal plus external information. Then third is natural interaction. So it is able to interact or communicate in natural language without needing complex SQL queries. You can simply ask, okay, we experienced a 25% drop in sales last month. What is the cause? Then it goes through your organizational information or knowledge plus external knowledge now. Then lastly is enterprise governance. So it respects organizational access controls, tenants boundaries, and privacy rules. Yeah. So with um grounded reliability, touching that again, it reduces hallucination by giving AI access to relevant sources and context. So even while providing this context, where that context is gotten from, the document where it is gotten from is always cited. So it's not just hallucinating, it is deriving it from somewhere, not just giving you, because if you ask a question, for example, what is our leave policy? If it is not grounded in your own enterprise information, what it will do is to give you a generic response, maybe gotten from the data that it has been trained on. But with grounding it now with your own company's information, it extracts that response and also adds the citation of where it was gotten from. So Microsoft IQ, like I said earlier, it is an enterprise intelligence platform or layer by Microsoft that grounds AI in organizational context. So it basically helps AI to understand an organization's work, their business data, internal knowledge, and external environment. So, and the problem that it is trying to solve now is the context gap, like I mentioned earlier. The context gap. So LLMs, while they are good at reasoning and generating natural language, they don't automatically have access to organizations, policies, business data, emails, meetings, and all of that. So the context layer, that context gap now What it means is that is basically the difference between what AI knows, what it has been trained on, the data it has been trained on, and what it needs to know specific to an organization in order for it to answer questions or accurately. Yeah. So, and the relationship between, like I said, Foundry IQ and RAG, which are the ones that are closely related, is that Foundry IQ here, it uses the concept of RAG for enterprise knowledge retrieval. So it's with Foundry IQ, it is governed and permission aware. So not everyone gets access to documents or data that they are not meant to access. And yeah, I think that will be all from me today. In subsequent sessions, we're going to be looking at all of these IQs one after the other, seeing how they actually work. Yeah.
Thanks very much, Kenny, for that very, very good, foundational information that you shared with us on Microsoft IQ and the 4 layers that it supports. So I do have like some questions in the chat window, which I actually think that you already addressed some of them, but I'll still ask them anyways. So 1337 and so asks, so when you said Microsoft IQ, said, is that like work IQ?
So it's Microsoft IQ. When you hear Microsoft IQ, you're talking about like 4 different IQs. So it's a combination of IQ, Web IQ, Foundry IQ, and what was the last one? Fabric IQ. Yes.
Yeah, nice. Thanks very much for that. So from what you mentioned, Kenny, so this is just question for me. By the way, I appreciate you making that really clear by sharing. And Sarkofi also says thanks very much. Thanks, Kenny. I also echo what Sarkofi says. Thanks, Kenny. So one question that comes to mind is, in your view, is the industry moving on from RAG? Is this like, would you say like this is like RAG version 2, where multiple contexts can be combined together in a single retrieval? Is that what's going on here?
Yes. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So essentially, anyone that's still like in the mode of RAG, that's essentially going a little bit out. But I can still remember. I can remember like many of these, or even other like Copilot assistants are moving like, so where maybe I have like my ChatGPT and I can connect it to my email, I can connect it to some files, I can connect a few things to it, and then ask a single questions, and then there is something in between that can decide what to retrieve, where to retrieve from. But that's like abstracted from me, because I just ask a question and then you decide whether you need to go, call the email, whether you need to go retrieve a document to do that, whether you need to go search the web. You decide based on the question that I've asked. But that is all abstracted from me. I'm not the one telling you, go to this document and go look for this answer here. Yeah. Then, Kenny, that was really helpful. That was really, really informative. Appreciate you taking the time to put together a presentation and to share that with us. So, ladies and gentlemen, so this is where we'll pause for today. So we'll pick things up from there in the next 2 weeks. And the next 2 weeks, we'll share some additional information. I believe that there's a demo that, Kenny, you're putting together also in relation to some of these. Yeah, so we'll see demos in relation to some of these also at some point later. And of course, I also have like some sessions that we'll be sharing. So I think there's one final question for you, Kenny. So Sarkofi asks, what sort of data are supposed, is just text-based data or audio and audio video data supported? That's a very, very good question. So what's your thoughts on that, Kenny?
that is where I think there is no limit to the kind of data it can access, because with Foundry IQ now, what it retrieves is um, structured data. Then you have like other ones here that are able to also access your unstructured data. Now that's where maybe your Azure Blob Storage comes in. So the um what's the word for it now? So it is able to access like data of different structures depending on whatever you want to use it to. I just gave the example of the policies that are in PDF because of the Foundry IQ, which basically is able to retrieve structured data, but depending on whatever, if I should create, let's see, it depends on the use case. In summary, depends on the use case.
Nice. No, thanks very much for that, Kenny. And I think there's one final one. So I think maybe if you want to comment on this, if you have a comment on this one, feel free to share. So 123 Enzo asks, from what I understand, setting up RAG has many implementation possibilities and is added than just tool use. Okay, so I think that this is more of a comment. And thanks very much for subscribing also. So we appreciate that as always. Again, thanks very much, Kenny. This has been very informative for me. Really, really enjoyed it. Thanks very much, Sakofi. Thanks very much, 123 Enzo, for all the questions and for joining us. And thanks very much to everyone else. Have a lovely rest of the day, and we'll pick this up in 2 weeks' time. See you all. Bye for now.